Danger.
Let me just preface that right now. This is probably going to trigger some of you guys. Now, you're probably thinking, Dre, why are you talking about this? You predominantly talk to men and you talk about family, faith, fatherhood, manhood, but why are you talking about this specific issue? It's because it connects to what it means to be a man. It connects to what it means to be a husband because, contrary to popular belief, there are a lot of men out there that desire to be husbands. See, there's this narrative out there that is painted about all men being dogs, not valuing women, not wanting to be husbands, right? But then on the flip side, there's women out there who has elevated themselves above the men, good men, that could possibly bring happiness into and joy and completeness into their life. But because, and I don't want to say standards are too high,
Danger.
but because they don't want to settle, they get to be well seasoned in age, still single, wondering where all the good men at. And many of you guys have passed them over because you didn't want to settle. That's a you problem. And I say that in love. Like, you see me laughing a little bit, getting joke. I'm just trying to make light out of the situation, but it's truth. That's a you problem. And today's guest, who I have on the show today, is going to talk to us a little bit about this whole thing about this don't settle sis lie that exists out there. So without further ado, I want to bring on my special guest, Bella from Bella Rings on YouTube. What's going on, sis? You're doing amazing things, and I'm just happy to have you on here to talk about this topic. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me on your channel, Andre. I really appreciate it. It is an honor. I'm super excited to talk about this.
Yes.
We're going to have a fun conversation, as you said, a candid conversation. I'm just excited, Thank you again.
Glad
and
you're
hello
here.
to everyone.
Yeah. And if you're watching right now, please do me a favor, hit the like button. It tells YouTube that this is a video worth sharing and will expose the video to people's suggested videos on their screens. And hopefully people will click it and gain some value from this topic. We're going to have a dope discussion. And
Danger.
it's going to trigger some of you guys, but sometimes we need to be triggered. So before we get started, share a little bit about your channel, who you are, and yeah, take it from there.
Absolutely. Again, I'm Bella. My channel's name is Bella Rings. My segment, in terms of speaking about femininity, relationships, is entitled Bella's Corner. And so it's just kind of like, come on in, girl. Sit down, relax. And again, let's have a candid conversation. Let's have a real conversation. And so the reason that Bella's Corner came about was I realized there is a big, I guess you can say, gap or discrepancy between the knowledge that was taught in the home to women, especially within the Black community, versus what wasn't. And so I realized that I was brought up with certain, levels of knowledge from my mother, thankfully, who did teach me how to be feminine. And I've always wanted to be a wife and a mother. And so I realized that women that I've met over the years, again, they're a little lost or just are unsure where to go. And so that's where Bella's Corner came to be, points of advice and encouragement. And we also talk about accountability over there in preparation for you to become for you to become a wife, a quality wife. And I say over there, Andre, a good woman makes a good wife, and a good wife makes a good mother, respectfully, in that order. And so I'm Bella. I'm 26 years old. I'm happily married to my wonderful husband. We have an infant 9-month-old, and we are expecting our second child. I have been
Yes, congratulations, sis.
Thank you. We have been together for 4 years next month, and we will be married for 1 year next month as well.
Yeah.
So I've learned quite a bit.
And the way you tell it, he went on one date with you, and he was like, "You know what? I need to lock this down." He was like,
"Yes, literally." Just
Yeah.
like that. First date, it's been he and I ever since. I knew I was feeling him from the first date, and clearly he was feeling me too. And so it's been us, and it's been great. He's a wonderful man, very masculine. Knows how to lead, knows how to be a husband.
Listen,
And he keep things in order over here.
and
That's what
that's
I do.
another thing that men got to realize. I know I talk predominantly to men, but men got to understand that, masculinity is important. Being able to keep your household in order is important. So that those are important too. Those are very important tools to have.
Yes.
So yeah, so this is amazing. I'm glad that you're here. A shout out to everybody so far in the chat. If you are in the chat and you are not subscribed to Bella's channel, I put it in the chat. So please go over to her channel, right click on it if you're watching the computer, hit open new tab. This way you don't leave this chat right now. Or if you're gonna click it on your phone, just make sure you come right back. All right. So you guys see the title, you see the thumbnail. I got my sister on to talk about this. We're going to play a video for you guys, right? And again, danger. This is going to trigger a lot of you. Gracious greatness. Let me put this up there because he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. He got the warning signs, the danger. This is going to trigger some of you guys because truth is triggering. Truth is triggering. And this video that we're going to play is going to, I guess probably our commentary is going to be triggering. Okay. There's this idea that, and here's the thing, I've heard this for years now. So there's this idea out there in the dating space as it pertains to women that women should not settle. And them not settling means that they are entitled to have certain things from a man. Okay. I saw a video yesterday. I was going to play it, but there's cursing in it, of a young lady who is a little bit more overweight than the average. And I try to keep it, relatively respectful on my channel. But she was a bigger woman who said that she doesn't really need to bring anything to the table, and rich men don't ask that. And she brings nothing to the table but being pretty and funny. And I was like, yeah, see, that's the mentality of many. Now, I don't speak in absolutes. So here, when I generalize, I may say many, I may say most, I won't say all. But many women out there growing up in this modern day are entitled to believe certain things about themselves and devalue the very men that they are trying to get. So this idea of don't settle, what do you think of when you hear this? And have you ever been told that in your younger years, or even as of recently?
Okay. Well, what do I think of it? I think it's rooted in a place of, I guess you can say, uh, over self inflation or of some sort. I always say that little girls, when they're brought up in the home, they're taught how to get things from boys, how to lure boys in, get gifts, get this and get that, and how to get a boy to follow her around or to like her. And then little boys are taught essentially how to do that rather than learning what their value is as a boy who's turning into a man, who's growing into a man. And so in my opinion, you see that perpetuated year by year. And essentially these people become adults, and those girls become women who have high expectations of, this is what I deserve because I'm a woman and because I smile at you and because I'm cute. And then, we have the situation that we have in terms of the state of men dating less, marrying less, and yada, yada, yada. And so, yeah, I think it's just, again, rooted in, unfortunately, being conceited and being selfish as a woman. As for me, yes, I was taught to want a certain level or type of man when it comes to income, when it comes to his height, and things of that nature. Unfortunately, what's missing in today's conversations, and what I believe in conversations from the home, is truly what does this man's character tell you? What does his spirit tell you?
Mm.
What about his character? And not only what's in his bank account, not only what he looks like, not only what, how tall he is,
Right.
but again, what is his character? Is he going to be a good father? Can you see him as being a good father? Can you see him as a good leader and protector?
Mm.
And how masculine is he? In addition to that, how does your femininity play into this masculine man's life? Again, I think all of these things are missing. And so, yeah, I was taught in a way of
Yep.
don't settle for certain things because you're this, because you're that. And
Yeah.
it did cause me personally kind of to grow up with some type of film, as I like to
Mm.
think,
Hmm.
over my eyes.
Yeah.
And I was, in a sense, pretty tunnel visioned in terms of my expectations and what I deserved and expected from a man. But I've always been open minded to understanding where where boys and then men come from.
Yeah.
And then I've also been willing to adjust my preferences, my expectations, in order to better suit what reality looks like in terms of the dating pool.
Yeah. That's dope. That's dope. It's and you've come to a different place. So it's not like you devalue who you are, right? Or even that
Yeah.
you didn't settle, right? What
Mm.
how do you see it now? So so a healthy woman who or if you was to give advice, healthy advice to a young woman growing up and she's really trying to find a man and she's being
Mm.
told by some people not to settle because she's a queen, things like that. What would you tell her that would help her still value herself but understand that some of those things that you're told really isn't healthy for you and may not land you in a place that you want to be in as far as a relationship?
I would tell her this way: a king is a king without a queen,
Mm.
but a queen can only be so with a king.
I'm glad you say it because if I say it, I'm gonna get like women angry in the chats and in the comment section, and they be blowing in my inbox saying, "Who do you think you are?" But that's a good point. It's a good point.
I mean, it's true. I mean,
Yeah,
of course, as a woman, you should be confident,
yeah,
in yourself. Confidence exudes from inwardly, and people, can tell that you're confident in yourself, that you
yeah,
walk a certain way and talk a certain way. So there's nothing wrong with confidence. A lot of women sometimes, question, oh, am I not supposed to be confident? Am I, supposed to allow a man to walk over me? Da da da. No, no, no,
yep.
and no. So I would say again, you're no queen without a king,
Mhm.
and understand that the dating pool is different. And sometimes you may get your quote unquote dream guy. So let's say he's, for the sake of conversation, 6 feet to make six figures, um, and whatever, right? But what is the trade off for having a man like this? Are you going to see him as
Mhm.
often? Is he going to need to maybe work on his trust issues or patience? There's going to be something that you're going to have to work through or be
Mhm.
patient through or deal with, despite whatever your long laundry list is. Because at the end of the day, no one's perfect and neither are you. And I will also say that to this young woman,
Yeah.
understand that your worth and what you attract is based in your femininity and not
Mhm.
based in manifestation.
Mhm.
It's not based on your vision board, and it's not based on the 100-page list that you have of the man again that you want to manifest, so that you pray to God for. What is your femininity worth? And what will your femininity attract? What are the things that maybe skeletons in your closet that you had that you need to work on that are possibly attracting these dusties? Where are you taking yourself? Where are you going that attracts men that are no good? I would tell them to examine your life to ensure that it reflects the type of caliber, or excuse me, the caliber of man that you want. But at the end of the day, there's a difference between expectations and standard. There's a difference between reality and what you qualify for. So hopefully, she would ask deeper, in terms of how can I increase my femininity? How can I increase my feminine energy, my feminine worth? How can I attract a good man of good character? And once she asks those questions, that is when I know she's on the right track in the hope of becoming a good wife. But first, she's got to improve herself as a woman.
All right, guys, it's been real. Thank you, guys, for showing up and watching live stream. We can end it here on that. Mic drop. Yeah, for real. That was dope, because I think that younger women need to hear stuff like that. And you are a young woman yourself, but you have a mentality that many young women your age do not have. But you also see now the long game, and this idea of don't settle is based off of women overvaluing themselves and thinking that they're not going to settle for a man less than what they believe they deserve. But I don't see it as them settling. I see it, if they don't choose the man that's a good man with good character, then they're settling to be they're settling for singlehood. And people don't really think of it like that. They say, well, don't settle. Well, you already did. You're by yourself, you're lonely, and still complaining about the men that didn't choose you, or men being dogs. So if you really were content in your position, you wouldn't have to keep telling other women not to settle, because essentially they're still settling for something. Either they're settling for singlehood, the cats, or they're going to find a good man. So, he may not check all the boxes, but this isn't me settling. This is me understanding what priorities are important in a relationship and making decisions from the priorities that exist, not from what standards that we were tricked to believe,
Exactly.
Let's get into this video, guys. Shout out to Pink Book Lessons. Bella shared this video with me earlier this week, and it came right on time. So we're going to watch this video, and we're going to do a quick tag team commentary on it. And I am going to add a scripture toward the end to tie everything together. So this is actually, and the scripture is ironic, because here we have older women, well past their 40s, I'll say maybe even 50s, telling women not to settle. And the women on the panel are single. So let's watch this video real quick. If ever you want me to pause it, Bella, just say, Dre, pause it real quick. We'll pause it and talk about it. But I'm going to pause it too. CPV Artist is in the house. What's going on, bro? Thanks for being here. Thank you so much. We're about to get into this.
All righty. Now, tonight's topic will focus on the importance of never settling as a Black woman. All right. Now, we got to keep it real. But sometimes settling is calming and relaxing to the spirit. But not settling involves work. It involves...
So I have it going at 1.25 speed, hoping not to get, copyright strike. So we'll see.
Tenacity. It involves inner work and so much more. According to bossmag.com, the key points of not settling requires accountability, setting standards, and fueling your mind and body.
So here's I'm gonna stop right here real quick. I don't really appreciate how people would use just random magazines and quote random magazines to sort of prove their case or their point. I haven't heard of Boss Mag or Boss Magazine, but there's so much literature out there. There's so much publication, so many publications out there, that it's important for you guys to vet objectively where you're getting your information from. Because what people tend to do is, when you have magazines and publications to your house, such as Ebony, Essence, Vogue, they tend to be one-sided in their perspective and will only tell women exactly what they want to hear. And then women will quote these saying, this is the truth. No, it's not. It's somebody's opinion piece. All right. It's an op-ed inside of a magazine that you've eaten up, you've ingested, and started to live, and it's causing you harm. So I'm not sure if you wanted to talk more on that, but yeah. So be careful where you get your guys' information from.
Now, ladies, Why is it important not to settle as a Black woman? I know this is easy, but Claudia, since nobody never gets to go to you first, tell me why it is so important for Black women to not settle.
Because we have it the hardest out of everybody. We have double minority status and usually do twice the work, half the pay, half the respect. So damn it, we deserve to not have to settle. And I know it seems like it's like easier sometimes, like, well, you know, statistics always tell us only 35% of women, Black women will get married and mostly going to be single. And after a certain age, it's a wrap. So we kind of sit there and say, well, I'll share or I'll compromise on this, or maybe he's not all I want, but he's better than nothing, or a piece of a man is better than no man. Hell to the no. Absolutely the F not. And sometimes it's hard when someone's like pretty good, but there's some things that really don't sit well with your spirit. And we try to sometimes force a square peg into a round hole, and you find yourself frustrated because you're like, oh, because you're settling.
You tell me to stop it?
Yes.
Yes. Sis.
So to the ladies watching replay live, what does settling even mean? What is it you're settling for? Does he not make enough money? Is he not as cute as you want him to be? Is he not tall enough? What is it exactly that you're not settling for? What exactly is settling? Dre, I'm sure you've heard of like the 80-20 rule, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So from what I'm hearing, she's saying, go ahead and drop the 80% or the 8 out of 10 boxes that he does check. Go ahead and disregard those because he's missing the 2.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not good enough. It doesn't sit right in my spirit.
Listen.
That he's not checking these last 2 marks from me. Because I deserve better than that. Because I'm whole. Because I'm everything in a bag of chips. Matter of fact, I'm the table. This is what it should be an honor to you. You should be humbled that someone else is interested in spending essentially their life with you, their time with you, their non-refundable time with you. And so the fact that she's encouraging women to essentially look down on men based on what seems to be superficial reasons leads young women to destruction.
Tell it.
Ladies, don't lose the man who checks your boxes off 80% looking for the 20%. Looking for the man who possesses the other couple of things that you think that you want or need. But when you work on yourself internally, that is when, again, you attract the things that you actually need. Because sometimes we need things that we don't necessarily realize and it manifests in the 80% man.
Listen.
But if you're looking at this 80% man as a bum or as a dusty or he's just not enough for me, without again examining yourself and your sexual marketplace value, as in what you actually should
shout out to CP
for. shout out to CP.
Yeah.
You need to look at those things, reevaluate those things, and then that will humble you quite well. But I just think, again, I just hear, I just hear nothing about women adjusting. I hear nothing about accountability, self-reflection. What about
or what makes you valuable to a man?
Or what makes you valuable to a man? Again, what are you bringing to the table? So anyway, you can keep on going.
Yeah, let's keep going. That's
feeling. And when you feel that feeling where it's like, damn it, something is still not sitting right.
Nah, that's the realization that you have a man you don't want, but deep down the man you wanted didn't want you. So you look at him and blame him for not people, women and men are trying to make things work with people. Things are so it's because not just age, race,
but I want to make sure that
core attributes. Make sure that go ahead and jump.
like we're not going to settle for, we'll come.
Oh, here we go.
Like we're not, as hard as it is, and have faith that when you do that, the thing that you like, we're not going to settle for, will come into your life. And it usually does when you're not expecting it. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Where's my microphone to drop?
Okay, that's big facts, Miss Claudia.
First off, you're not supposed to tell yourself where's the microphone. You don't drop your own microphone. Somebody else says it. Like you don't get to drop your own microphone. Like that's it. You just don't. You don't drop your own microphone. All right.
Now, Miss Vivica, what are your thoughts on settling?
I concur with Claudia 100%. As a matter of fact, my girlfriend who just spoke, I told her that we had a nice little talk. And you and I.
Yeah.
That I told you, you never keep smiling until God sends you your king. Don't settle. And I feel that way to tell that to other ladies.
Yeah, basically Vivica and Claudia.
These are older women giving poor advice to each other and to the young women that's watching. It's poor advice. This idea of not settling. It's the whole idea that you can have standards. Okay. And I'm not against standards. I think people should, everybody has standards. We go to work, there's a standard that we must operate within a job or whatever. There's certain things that you should identify as, these are some things that I would like to have in a relationship, but these are things I should be able to give in a relationship. But those standards got to be realistic and non-conceited. Those standards shouldn't put you at the center of the relationship. And that's what's happening with these women here, and putting themselves at the center of the relationship and not trying to identify who can I partner up with in this life and live life together with. I'm not going to settle. And well, what if he'll be the one settling for you? What if in his mind, he can have a much younger lady, but he says, you know what? I choose you. I'm going to settle for you. You're a little older. And I'm going to settle for you. How would that feel? Like, I think that this idea of non-settling is extremely selfish, self-centered, and it doesn't really help people find somebody that that's good for them. Somebody that they're looking for that they don't even know they're looking for.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. I mean, it's never discussed, Andre, from that perspective. What if he's settling for you? Mm-hmm. What if you're a little bit older, or what if you weigh a little bit more, or what if he prefers natural over the weave, or whatever. Mm-hmm. But he likes your personality. He sees that you're generally, easy to get along with. And so he's like, you know what? I like this one.
Yeah.
That point of view, that angle is never talked about and never considered by women who preach, don't settle for less.
Yeah. This whole idea of even not to settle, why is it a bad thing? Like, she started off the beginning saying that settling is usually a place of calm and a place of peace. When you settle, you have planted yourself in a specific position. So essentially, everyone is settling. Shout out to CPDR. I think he said someone has to settle, but at the end of the day, everybody is settling. At least if you look at the word in its proper definition, to settle means to establish yourself. So if you have settled with somebody, I say it like this: we need to find somebody we can settle with, not settle for. I'll say it like that, because truth be told, right? A good man may want a woman who looks like those Instagram models, right? But in most cases, he's going to settle with the woman who is more conservative, traditional, right? And not all that flashy with her looks, but that would make sure that the home is maintained well, that she honors and loves and respects him, and he'll be able to reciprocate that as well. People are going to settle. It's either, are you going to settle for somebody or settle with somebody? That's a bar. If you quote me, make sure you put my name in that quote. All right. I'm just saying, I'm going to give myself a mic drop. All right. Settle with is what we should be looking for. Yeah. But should we keep going?
Let's keep going.
Let's do it.
they're going to just keep lying to women, telling women that they're queens,
Shout out to Pink
they're
Blessings.
great, nothing is wrong with them, and somehow God is going to send a righteous man to an unrighteous, wicked stuff that these women bad decisions.
And blah, blah, blah. But I'm this, but I'm that.
To their own bad decisions.
Because we like, but I'm this, but I'm that. And it doesn't he see how much I care? And blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you something. When you learn as a woman that as much as you give, you deserve to get back, if not more.
You see how they want to be superior to men?
So that if not more, you reap what you sow. You don't try to, like, this isn't like a situation where you're getting interest in a relationship. You cook dinner and now you're expecting a return with interest. Like, that's not how it works. It's reciprocation. So what you give, you expect to receive. All right. You don't,
because it turns transactional. She's speaking about it as if it's a transactional relationship. Yeah. And who wants to be in a type of relationship where, okay, you give, I'll give if you give.
Yeah.
That's a selfish rooted relationship.
Or I'll give after I see that you give. You know, because again, in a lot of cases, men and women alike, they, before they would give in a relationship, they want to make sure that they're about to receive something first. And actually, in all actuality, men and women go into dating, modern women go into dating with this in mind. I'm about to receive something. He's got to give me something. And he can't expect anything in return. You know,
he's wrong if he expects something in return. He asks for too much if he expects something in return.
Yeah, so
because they're the table.
Yeah, he's supposed to do that, right? And again, it's a real messed up thing where what she's saying, the first part without interest was good. You reap what you sow. Yeah, you give and you receive. All right, you reciprocate that. And shout out to Do Better podcast. What's going on with the $10 with the $10 super chat? With the we in here, salute. Hey Bella, you got this. All right. Shout out to the bro. Yeah. I thank you for the $10 super chat. Yeah. But yeah, it's a reciprocation. And I think people got to go into a relationship thinking that way. And no, I don't believe women should be, if a man is paying for the first date, that the reciprocation is, you know, a nighttime rendezvous. I don't believe that. But there's gotta be some sort of reciprocation on the woman's part if what she's saying is right, which should be the case, right? What are we sharing together? You're giving. What are you willing to receive? He's giving you this. What are you willing to receive? What are you willing to give back? You want to receive all the benefits. You want to get all this because, again, you were taught that you deserve all these things, right?
Simply by existing.
Simply
by existing.
Yeah. So there's got to be a way to reciprocate. And again, I'm a traditional man, so I believe that men should be paying on the first date. Okay, I don't believe the first date should be crazy expensive, but they should be paying on the first date. But out of that, because most men, good men, would like to receive and have reciprocated back to them gratitude, you know, something that they appreciate, the gesture of paying for a first date, things like that, and not necessarily giving that, you know, the goods at the end of the night. But there's got to be some reciprocation there. And her idea that if not more, you know, whatever you give, expect to receive, if not more. That's an L on her part, because now you're going back to that whole place where I'm better than you. So if I give this to you, not only do you have to appreciate it, you need to give me back what I gave plus more with interest. And it's transactional, like you said.
And my thing is, no one is perfect. So when you get into a relationship, when you're dating, when you're courting, when you're dating, when you get into a relationship, you are going to have to teach that individual or tell or talk to that individual, your man, and say like, hey, I really like things like this, or, you know, figure out what each other like and don't like. And that's another form of showing appreciation. Now, my thing is, I mean, you talked about the if not more thing. On my channel, when I'm speaking about how to prepare, you know, for marriage to the women, I'm always referring to the masculine provider man who wants to be a husband, who wants to be a wife, who's ready to provide his 4 P's, as Crimson Cure teaches on her channel, problem solving, procreation, procreation. The other two slipped my mind. Excuse me.
That's all right.
But my point is, I'm talking about the
Protecting?
provider, masculine man. Yes, protecting, providing, provision, and procreation. Okay. Thank you. There we go. I'm referring to that type of man. And so that's the type of man that I'm referring to when I speak about, this type of man or the type of man or a man. Okay. So my thing is, a man, a good man, a man worth having, a masculine man, he's going to give back to you anyway in the relationship. Yeah. That's nothing that you necessarily have to ask for. Now, if your expectations are out of the water, that's one thing. Yeah. But if you're truly flowing in your receptive femininity, and if you're just, again, flowing in what you have going on with him and allowing him to be the catalyst to the relationship, that is when you'll realize that he is giving just as you are. He's giving time, you're giving time. He's giving appreciation by way of him giving you his time, him spending his resources, aka his money, him using his gas to come and get you, and you're reciprocating by getting pretty, by smelling good, by giving him your feminine energy and your youth as you all travel throughout the relationship. Mm-hmm. But again, the if not more is the issue. Is if he's giving you this, it's truly not enough. Mm-hmm. There's a book that I have, Dre, that's called the Proper Care and Feeding of Husbands. And in that book, she talks about the what is it? The elevator husband or something like that. There's like an elevator husband.
Who's the author?
And there's what's that? Dr. Laura Schlesinger. Schlesinger. If you type it on Amazon, The Proper Care and Feeding of Husbands by Dr. Laura, it should come up. It's a red and white book, but it's a good read for any woman who's about to walk down the aisle, newlyweds, or even a woman who's currently married. But again, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but again, let's just call it the elevator husband story. And basically, as each level goes on, as you get to level 1, it's, this man is handsome, and he makes good money. Go to the next level if you want to see, what other characteristics, your possible husband will have. But if you go to the next level up, you cannot return to the lower level. So these women go through the next level after level after level. They're on level, let's say 4. And this man, he's tall, he's handsome, he's charismatic, he helps with the children, he's great in bed, he makes money. And what women tend to do is, in terms of the don't settle for less, is, okay, great, he has all of these great qualities that I like, that I prefer, that I want, that I need in a man. But there could be something that he's missing. Because it just doesn't sit right in my spirit, as ma'am said in the video, right? Yeah. So they go to level 5 and it's over.
Yeah, I heard of that concept. I've heard of
it. Because your expectations are too high. There's no perfect man. And so every time I hear things like this, that is what I think of. When is a man going to be enough for you? That is what the I don't settle for less narrative says. When is enough? When is a man going to be enough for you? I see CJ. I'm sorry, CJ. J. She's saying yes, but many guys are saying that's not enough. I'm assuming she's referring to femininity,
or probably the dating. appreciation in a date. We'll touch that real quick. Shout out to my bro Jermaine. Keep pushing, Dre. Check out my first comment. I believe this is the comment, right? She neglected to mention that Black women are the most protected subgroup in the world, which is the case, especially in America. They actually are, and they have the most public resources accessible to them, from way of college funding to life funding through certain state-run and government-run entities to provide funds for them. So yeah, I think this is what you were referring to, right? Let me know if you if this is what you were referring to, bro. All right, let me go down to yes, he said, yeah, yes, the dating. Now here's the thing, that this is why I always say, and if you've watched the channel for any length of time, dating is a process of vetting and understanding and learning who people are. So a man can say that that's not enough. If that's the case, and here's the advice I'm going to give you ladies: if you showing immense appreciation for a man paying on a first date, right? And you even go a little further and let's say, for instance, you pay the tip. I'm not saying that you have to. I'm just saying, let's say you do that. You're doing something to show that there's some reciprocation there. If he doesn't receive that reciprocation at an appropriate level, then that's an opportunity in the vetting stage to say, you know what, this may not be the right place for me. If he's expecting me to give it up because he paid for a dinner, this may not be the right situation for me. So if they are saying that's not enough, that's a good thing, because you may have dodged a bullet. All right. Yeah. So let's keep going, because I know I only have you for like another 18 minutes. I want to make sure. All right. So shout out to Pink, but I don't want to go off of her commentary. I want to go off of what they're saying. I'm not really sure how it relates to settling in a relationship of a single mother who happens to be Black is probably going to do what she needs to do for her children and pick up the whatever slack that's necessary. But I'm not sure. Let me see how it connects.
I can't hear anything.
Oh, I'm playing it and I'm not even sharing it. My bad, y'all.
Yeah.
Yo, my bad. I'm like playing it and you're just sitting there waiting. My bad. Hold on.
He was retiring from his show. Strongest. He posts.
Those attributes mean little to nothing
my bad,
to me.
Guys.
Today, it's incredible to me that a friend of mine on her page, I was just scrolling through some of her posts, and that speech by, what was Trevor Noah, the comedian before he retired?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he says, if you want to learn something, everything I learned it from a Black woman. If you want to find out about who's going to be the strongest, if stuff gets crazy and when it gets crazy, it's going to be a Black woman. And that speech that he gave when he was retiring from his show brought tears to my eyes, because we forget how special we are.
And again, that doesn't really translate into dating yet. Okay, because if you're finding somebody out, you're dating somebody and you're vetting, he's not sure what kind of mother you are. Trevor Noah's mother was a single mother in South Africa, apartheid South Africa, doing what she needs to do to raise her children. So it's not really the same. Okay. And not to devalue Black women. Black women are amazing people. My mother's a Black woman. I get it. But again, this goes to, again, understanding the relationship dynamics. This makes you a great person. This may not make you a great or a valuable person in the dating field. Like, this not necessarily doesn't translate to that yet. Okay. After you're married, they'll be able to see that. But at that stage, that's not what's the emphasis is, and it shouldn't be. And we can't think of generalities, because Trevor Noah's mom did that. Now all Black women want to attach themselves to that, right? But they don't want to attach themselves to some of the toxic things that happens in society, right? So, like, for instance, they will attach all black men to being dogs because they've been dogged by 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 black men. But they would refuse to be attached to anything toxic, right? They want to be attached to something that's brave and bold, or someone like Trevor Noah's mom. Shout out to her, because I read a little bit of his book and saw a little bit of his story. So it's not the same. It's not the same.
We forget our power and how much we hold things together for our families and finally for each other. Don't settle. You don't have to. If someone don't get you, to hell with them. And I mean that.
Really nice speech, but let's get back to reality. Black women are not holding families together. Instead, they are destroying families, destroying the community with their misandry, their feminist mindset, their attitudes, their bad behavior, and bad decisions. Now, I'm not saying that all men are perfect, but what I am saying is that a lot of these women, they are delusional. They really believe that their degrees, their superficial accomplishments, that somehow really put them at a higher level than other women who they think are not at their level. When in reality, they still get the same results as the women who they think they're not on the level of, because when you rip away all of that, underneath, they're still the same woman. They have the same bad qualities, the same bad behavior and decision making and results that lowered their value, and they refuse to do anything that will increase their value.
I don't think anybody should settle, because it's going to do one or two things. It's going to hinder you or make you feel like you are stuck in a place in which.
So let's take a look at her example, okay? She married, I think, the president of some island in the Caribbean, okay? She says nobody should settle. Is it possible that he settled for her? She wasn't political. She wasn't,
Absolutely.
Could it be that no one should settle, but maybe he settled for her and they didn't make it?
Well, when you see yourself as the prize, you don't look at it that way.
Oh, listen.
Danger.
Wow. And again, look how self-centered and conceited that thinking is. When you look at yourself as the prize, you won't see it that way. That's a very good point. Very good point.
Which you're going to get, you're going to harden and be bitter, and you're not going to feel good or loved. It's just a little while that you'll try to make sense of what decision you made before you realize, hey, I'm just really not happy. What is good for me is keeping the foundation of any relationship, and that's the friendship. That is what makes you like each other and respect each other. I'd rather curve the relationship towards that as I see it's going sour, so I can then say, hey, it's cool. You can't be this, but we can remain this. It's all good. You'll still have each other in each other's lives at some point, but not just at that point.
Translation, she's going to keep you in the friend zone. Make sure you stick around so that she can use you.
All right. I think we got enough to talk about here, but if you guys, I'm going to put a link in the description to Pink Book Lessons video. You guys can watch more of it there. But I got you for like another 12 minutes. I want to get you, like, really pick your brain on this whole non-settling thing, because it's doing a lot more harm for women than it is helping them. Because again, we have older women on the panel telling women not to settle, okay? Not to settle. But I'm a Christian. And I believe that the Bible has amazing gems in it that if we just follow will help us in society as a whole. So I'm going to share the scripture real quick. Let me bring this up a little bigger so you guys can see it. The Bible says in Titus 3:3-8, older women likewise are to be reverent in behavior, not slanderers or slaves to much wine, which is not what we're seeing a lot of today.
Not at
They
all.
are to teach what is good, and so train young women to love their husbands and children, to be self-controlled, pure, working at home, kind, and submissive to their own husbands, that the word of God may not be reviled. Likewise, urge younger men to be self-controlled. Show yourself in all respects to be a model of good works, and in your teaching show integrity, dignity, and sound speech that cannot be condemned, so that any opponent may be put to shame, not having nothing evil to say about you. And what's happening here is we're not seeing enough of the older women behaving reverently, not slandering, and staying away from the wine, and teaching what is good to train young women. We're not having a lot of that. if you look at the shows that are on here on TV, right? That caters to women, a lot of it is really poor advice by older women that younger women are eating up, and it's causing them to live detrimentally to what they really want in life. And we need more of that. We need more older women to mentor and train these young women. And the women on this panel, they weren't doing that. They weren't doing that. So they're telling these young women, or women in general, not to settle, right? And them not settling is causing them to be older, be single, and be bitter toward men in their past because they pass up some great men that they didn't want to settle for. But, yeah. So what are your thoughts on this? Yeah, go ahead, sis.
Yeah, I mean, I totally think that is a huge failure on their part. The cliche says hindsight is 2020, but these women are not actually using their now 2020 sight to help lead the young women again toward a life of happiness, toward a life of knowing, how to love, in this case in the scripture, how to love your husband and your children. Instead, older women are competing with younger women for men, for attention. They're getting BBLs. They're wearing just as much weave and makeup, and nails are just as long because we live in a world that is essentially ran off of how much attention I can get today, or how many likes I can get off of this post. And we see people across different age groups on social media conducting themselves in this way. I think that again, it is a huge failure on their part. And again, that's where my channel and other women who younger women who speak on these things come in at, because we see that not only are your big sisters bad examples, not only are your aunts bad examples, but your moms and your grandmas are also bad examples on how to have a healthy, lasting relationship, a healthy, lasting marriage, as well as bringing up their children in a positive way that won't groom them to live in a farce, in a false reality, if you will, especially the young girls, in terms of what it is to seek a romantic partner and what you should expect. Something that she said, something that Pink Book Lesson said that I have kind of mentioned earlier during our conversation, Dre, but I wanted to emphasize again, is increasing your value. These women are not talking about how to increase your value, as I mentioned earlier, in order to attract a better or higher caliber of a man. And I think that is, again, where it starts. Instead of trying to change your environment, change yourself, change your thinking, change your expectations. And then that is what is going to cause your lenses to shift, your reality to shift, your environment to change. And that is what I think a lot of these conversations with older women are missing. Ladies, take accountability for your wrongs. Take accountability for the things that you need to truly work on. Yes, you want this type of man, but does this type of man want a woman like you where you stand today? Let's be honest about it. What does this type of man like? Does he like women who are smaller? Does he like, or big, or excuse me, more thick? Does he like women who are natural or not? Does he want a more masculine woman, or does he want a feminine woman? If you want a masculine man, you have to be feminine. So those are, again, Dre, those are the conversations I think that are missing on these panels and in these conversations.
Yeah. And I think that more conversations like that will encourage the generations behind to do better. 3, 4 generations ago, our families were intact. And throughout the modern age, right, these feminist waves and all that stuff, we're now at a place where our families are broken. And sometimes we have to go back to when it worked. We have to go back to when it worked and not think to ourselves, well, that's how it was done back then. And this is the new normal. We have to stop settling, no pun intended, for toxic new normals that don't really help bring forth positive families, which in turn won't bring forth positive societies. We have to go back to the basics on certain things. The basics is found in the Word of God. We got to go back. We got to go back and be like, listen, it worked then. It worked then. People knew exactly what they were supposed to do in a relationship, in a marriage, and with technology, with the advancement of society, everybody wants certain things and they feel entitled to certain things, and they want to, essentially manifest certain things. But all those things that they want, they aren't themselves. They haven't put in the work themselves. Relationships take work. So if you're dating somebody and you're looking at them like, yeah, I'm not about to settle for this person. Truth be told, it says some things about you. It says that you're not willing to work with this person to build and develop a life with them. You want everything handed to you. So I'm not settling here. It's like somebody hopping from island to island, trying to find the most beautiful place to live. It was already built for them. So they go to this island and, this beach is nice, but it's not exactly what I expected. I think I deserve more. So you go to a different beach, island. And then, eventually you'll find yourself settling on an island, not realizing that it's above the hurricane belt, and hurricane season comes, and then boom, your life is turned upside down because you thought you was living scot-free, comfortable on a nice beach. And not necessarily. So I think people got to stop this idea of, I don't want to settle for somebody. And I'm going to say it's time that we start thinking about settling with somebody and building with somebody. Because understand this, women, understand this. Men reach their peak about 40s, mid 40s, 50s, right? And they're developing all these. And what tends to happen is this, and here's a parallel. The woman who are in her 20s who don't want to settle, won't settle. And by the time they both reach 45 or 40, he's well established, right? He's well established. Now he's at the place where you don't think you will settle if you get with him. But he may think getting with you, he'll be settling. So he's not going to want to settle with you. He's going to want to settle with somebody else. He don't want to settle for you. He's going to want to settle with somebody else who may be a lot younger. So guys, we have to be wise when we're looking to identify what we want and be willing to put in the work. I'm not trying to have somebody settle for me. I want somebody to settle with me, and let's build this life together. But Bella, I know I got you for a couple more minutes, so I want you to close this out.
Yes, sir. I mean, great points. I want to let the young ladies know, use your youth, use your prime to your advantage to obtain the best type of man that you can get. He doesn't have to be the richest. He doesn't have to be the tallest. He doesn't have to be the most muscular. But what are the things that you need and want out of a marriage? You need a leader. You need a protector. You need a provider. You may want someone who's funny. You may, want a man who's caring. But understand that you have to look at your needs and wants, and again, base them in reality. That will help you, depending on if you have a male in your life, like a father or brother or uncle, someone who can help you vet. If you don't have that in your life, what does this man's character tell me? What are the words that have come out of his mouth? If things contradict, if things don't make sense, that is when it is appropriate to say, I'm not going to settle for this type of man because he lacks, character in some aspect. He isn't trustworthy or whatever. That is when it's appropriate. But understand that again, you're not coming perfect as well. So again, as Dre has said, what if he's settling for you? What if he's settling for you? Ladies, use your prime to your advantage. Get fit. Learn how to do your hair. Go natural. Increase your femininity by not being so maybe defensive in conversation, by being more receptive to criticism, by being willing to put your trust in a man who has shown you that he can lead, that he's trustworthy. As you increase your value as a woman through increasing your femininity, that is when you attract a more masculine man. That is when you attract a more provider man. And then that way, you two can get to know each other. And okay, he's got this flaw, but I'm willing to deal with it. And he's saying she's got this flaw, but I'm willing to deal with it as well because she's easy to talk to. She's easy to work with. She's feminine. She's kind. I want to be with him because he's kind. He's masculine. He's helpful. He helps me change my tire. He provides valuable foresight for me not to, do a bad investment or whatever the case is. These things show me that he can be a good husband and that he can lead me well. Vet his character and not only his possessions, because a man can be a six-figure man and can have the cars and can have the jewelry and can have it in the name and this and that, but is he a man of character? Is he a trustworthy man? Is he going to be a good father? Can you see him being a good father? If you can see that, settle with him. But don't allow false narratives and women who say things like this steer you wrong or steer you away from a good man who may not be perfect. As Dre said earlier in the broadcast, be willing to build with him, not be willing to build him, but being willing to build with him shows that you're feminine, shows that you're wife material. But again, don't get caught up in this don't settle for less business, because you'll never, quote unquote, settle, and then you'll end up alone and unhappy.
Tell it. And we hit a little one behind you. Yeah. So she said I had her until 8:30 and I want to make sure I respect her time. But yeah, I had to make sure that I go full screen for that because what she was giving everybody was the truth. And I think that's amazing advice. And I'm hoping that many more young women will be able to receive that advice and start implementing it because it's important for society. And men, I'm going to come at you guys. You guys aren't exempt. There's some things that you guys need to work on, but tonight was just needs to be where it is tonight. But I do appreciate your time, sis, and I really do thank you. I know you're amazing mom, amazing wife, and you got your home in order, and you got to go and order it right now. So closing us out, just please share your channel, any other social media handles we can connect with you on. And then we'll end it here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again for having me, Dre. It is an honor. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. You can find me here on YouTube. You can type in Bella Rings, and I should pop up just 2 words, Bella Rings. And I'm also the same thing on Instagram, Bella.Rings. And you can find me on Instagram, and that's pretty much the only 2 things I'm on. I'm looking forward to seeing you all over on my side. Thank you so much again, Dre.
When's your
I go
next
live
stream?
on Friday.
This Friday?
What's that?
Okay. I was going to ask
Oh,
when
yes.
you're going live again.
Yes, sir. I go live. I go live on the weekends, Fridays at 4 p.m. Eastern time, and Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dre, and it has been a pleasure.
Yes, it has. All right, we'll connect. All right, sis. All right, have a good night. All right, good question. Am I Caribbean? So my mother's side of the family is from Trinidad. All right. And my father's side of the family has their roots in Puerto Rico. So yes, essentially I was born in the US, but I do have Caribbean roots that connect straight back to Africa. Nigeria, if I believe, according to my DNA results, which some people don't like, but yeah. All right, guys, but listen, great advice from the sister Bella Rings. When you know it, yeah. Great advice from the sister Bella Rings. Please, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go over to the channel, especially if you're a young lady. She offers great advice on there about what it means to be a woman. Some of the things that she's living out, she's giving at the same time. So essentially, she's like building the plane as she's flying it, but it's a well-built plane that's being flown. So I want you guys to go over to the channel and subscribe, support the sister. She's doing amazing things on there. And shout out to Chelsea's live line for getting 1,000K, 1,000 or 1K subscribers. So shout out to our sister Chelsea's live line. Yes. Oh, you lived in Trinidad for years and you're Nigerian? Come on. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So yeah, my DNA results showed that my roots go back to Nigeria. And then, yeah, so yeah, you're welcome, sis. We're very proud of you. You're doing amazing things and you're about to get monetized. And once you get monetized, all the super chats will be coming in and you'll be doing this full time in no time. All right. Yeah, I see. You know. All right, guys. So I do appreciate you guys for watching. If you made it this far in the live stream or the replay, do me a favor. Hit the like button right now. By liking it, it'll let YouTube know that this is a video worth sharing. They're going to put it in people's suggested videos. They're going to have a chance to click on it. Hopefully, we can add some value to somebody out there in this YouTube space. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. And by subscribing, you'll be joining the Harrison Extended Family. That's what I call my community here. You guys are my Harrison Extended Family. So I greatly appreciate you all. And hit the bell notification. It'll let you know when I go live, like I'm doing right now, when I upload new videos, or if I upload a short. And if you'd like to support the channel through sponsorships or through super chats, I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes. If you're going to super chat me right now, you can. Totally up to you. Or you can hit me up with a super thanks. If you're watching the replay, hit the super thanks button and make a donation. It'll allow us to keep going and keep producing content like this, setting up more collabs and interviews and things like that. And also, if you'd like to be a monthly supporter by giving monthly, we have 2 ways to do so. Very inexpensive. It won't hurt the bank. It'll still be able to support this channel. You can click below on the YouTube memberships. We have inexpensive tiers there. Third cousins, second cousins, first cousins, and siblings. Any amount that you would like to support us will definitely help. And you can go to patreon.com/Harrison Family Values and be able to give there as well. If you guys don't like to give free money away, we also have another option, merch. You can click below. We have some merch down below. If you go into my channel and click the shopping tab, I think it's in my channel, or you'll be able to see what we have there for sale. You can support the channel by picking up some merch. And I have I got hoodies that says "Saved by Grace." I got hoodies that say but did you pray about it? That's like my thing. I have new designs as well. Every like month, we're gonna be adding new stuff to the merch store so that you guys can purchase something and support the channel as well. All right. This is something that we want to make big this year. So with your support, we can reach many people. All right. So guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you all. And until the next upload, a live stream, I am hold on, I gotta play my end music. Whoa. Before I end this live stream, I have to make sure I do this because it hasn't been working. So let's see if it works now. Peace.